Well, Oklahoma and 8 other states set records for wind power generation this past month. About 1/4 of the power used by members of the Southwest Power Pool on October 10th was from the wind. Now, I sat down with Michael Skelly, the president of Clean Line Energy, to find out what is behind such growth.
Well, it's interesting. About 10 years ago, Oklahoma got around 0% of its electric power from wind energy. Today, it's getting close to 15%. So in energy terms, pretty short period of time, Oklahoma has added a tremendous amount of new wind energy to the grid. And that's pretty exciting. And it's really a combination of a couple of things coming together. Permit-friendly environment, available transmission, ranchers and farmers who have experience working with different types of energy resources, working with other parties to help tap those resources, and nice leadership from state officials. Governor Fallon is just phenomenal on this stuff. She understands the importance of a mix of energy. And then really interesting improvements in wind technology. And just, if I could just give you an example of that. The machines that we put in 10 years ago, and I was involved in some of the first wind farms down near Lawton, those machines, if you put in sort of the same capital investment at that site with today's turbine technology, you'd get around 35–40% more energy out of that same site. Now, what does that mean? That means for the same capital investment, you're getting a lot more energy, and that really helps bring the cost down. And that's a great thing for economic development in Oklahoma, and it's a good thing for ratepayers in the state as well.
Is the infrastructure that supports wind energy and getting the energy from where it's windy to where they need it, is that still the challenge that we face?
Yeah. So with respect to infrastructure, that's a great question. So the next wave of wind development in Oklahoma has been really driven by a couple of things. One is the export of wind from Oklahoma to other states, particularly to the southeast, because they just don't have as much wind as y'all have. And the other factor is that there has been some grid expansion in Oklahoma, in western Oklahoma. The different states in this area called the Southwest Power Pool, which are Kansas, Missouri, and other nearby states, they got together and said, okay, let's go ahead and upgrade the grid so we can get to these higher renewable percentages. And as that's happened, that's helping to enable new projects. So the most recent trend that we've seen over the last year or so in Oklahoma is the export of Oklahoma wind to markets in the southeast.
Can you store wind energy? You can store oil, you can store coal, but how do you store wind energy?
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on the energy storage front. A lot of people are trying to figure that out. The thing is, though, at today's wind penetration levels, 15%, you don't really have a storage issue, okay? Because you don't have times when you're saying, oh, we got so much wind right now that we don't know what to do with it. What happens is other units ratchet up and down depending on how the wind blows. So the grid itself and this whole mix of generation units across the Southwest Power Pool, they're fully capable of integrating the current penetration levels and even higher penetration levels. So the storage challenge is an important long-term challenge. A lot of people working on it. It's going to take a while, though, to figure it out.
Final question. What do you say to those that believe that wind cannot stand on its own without government support?
Yeah. Let's just talk about what does government support of wind consist of today, okay? You can produce wind energy in Oklahoma with the federal tax credit for about 2.5 cents. Without the tax credit, it would be about 4.5 cents. If you look at other ways to generate electricity, gas turbines, solar panels, etc., then we're pretty close to being right there in the hunt. With gas, you can burn gas, generate a little bit less than 4.5 cents, but wind is really close to being competitive on its own, which I think is a really interesting point when it really kind of opens the possibility of blowing the doors open on this industry. And it's particularly exciting for Oklahoma because wind is most competitive where it's really windy, and as you know, it's really windy in Oklahoma.
All right, I appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Well, Job Potential has led several state technical schools to start programs to train and certify workers in repairing and servicing wind turbines. Now, if you'd like to see what it takes to work on wind turbines, just head to okhorizon.com and click on Wind Jobs under our value-added section.